Kubernetes pod needs to read from S3, write to DynamoDB, or publish to SQS. But here's the problem. If you hardcode AWS access keys into your pod, you have planted a landmine. Keys leak into Git repositories. Keys expire without warning at 2 a.m. Keys get copy-pasted into Slack channels. Rotating them is a nightmare at scale. So how does an IAM role securely reach a pod without a single static credential? The answer is IRSA, IAM Roles for service accounts, powered by OIDC, OpenID Connect. In this video, we trace the full identity journey step by step with real commands, YAML, JSON, and trust policies on screen. Think of IRSA like entering a secure government building. When you start working there, HR does not hand you a master key to every room. Instead, your employer issues a wristband. That wristband is a Kubernetes OIDC JSON web token, digitally signed by the cluster's own private key. The building lobby has a rule board that says, "We only trust wristbands signed by this specific issuer." That rule board is the IAM OIDC Identity Provider you register in AWS. At the security gate, a bouncer checks two things. Is the audience field STS at AmazonAWS.com? And does the subject match your exact service account? That bouncer is the IAM trust policy. If both checks pass, you walk to the badge desk, which is AWS STS. STS swaps your wristband for a temporary visitor badge, short-lived credentials that expire in 1 hour. And the badge? It only opens the doors listed on your permission policy. Wristband, bouncer, badge desk, doors. Remember these four. IRSA is a handshake between two separate worlds, Kubernetes and AWS. Let us map every piece. On the Kubernetes side inside your EKS cluster, you need four things. First, a namespace and a service account, the identity anchor. Second, a pod spec that references that service account, like a job application naming your employer. Third, a projected token volume. This is the OIDC JWT physically mounted as a file inside the pod, typically at a path under var run secrets. Fourth, a mutating admission webhook, the invisible helper that intercepts pod creation and injects environment variables plus the token volume automatically. On the AWS side, you also need four things. First, the IAM OIDC Identity Provider pointing at your cluster's issuer URL. Second, an IAM role with a trust policy, the bouncer's checklist. Third, a permission policy attached to that role, what the badge unlocks. Fourth, AWS STS, the credential mint that exchanges tokens for temporary access key, secret key, and session token. 8 pieces, 2 worlds, 1 seamless identity flow. Step 1. Extract the cluster's OIDC issuer URL and register it with IAM. Every EKS cluster has a unique OIDC issuer baked in at creation time. Think of it as the building's registration number. It tells the outside world who printed these wristbands. Run this command. AWS X describe cluster, pass your region and cluster name, and query cluster.identity.oid.issuer. You get back a URL like https oidc.eks-east-1.amazonaws.com ID followed by a hex string. That hex string is your cluster's unique OIDC fingerprint. Now you need to tell AWS, trust tokens from this issuer. Run xtils associate IAM OID provider with the region, cluster name, and the approved flag. Under the hood, this creates an IAM OIDC Identity Provider resource in your account. Here is the expert-level detail. IAM reaches out to your cluster's well-known OIDC discovery endpoint, fetches the JSON web key set, the JWKS, which contains the public keys, and caches them. From this moment, STS can verify the cryptographic signature on any JWT your cluster signs. The trust foundation is set. If this step fails, nothing downstream works. Step 2. Create the IAM role with a trust policy. This is the single most critical configuration in IRSA. The trust policy answers one question: who is allowed to assume this role? Think of it as the bouncer's laminated checklist. Here is the trust relationship.json. The version field is October 17, 2012, which is the only valid IAM policy version. The statement allows the action STS AssumeRoleWithWebIdentity. The principal is federated, pointing to the ARN of your cluster's ODC provider. ARN AWS IAM your account ID OID provider / your cluster OIDC host and path. Now the crucial condition block. It uses string equals with two checks. First, the audience claim must equal STS AmazonAWS.com. This ensures only tokens minted for AWS consumption are accepted, not tokens meant for other OIDC relying parties. Second, the subject claim must equal system service account your namespace your service account. This pins the role to exactly one service account in one namespace. No other pod in the entire cluster can assume this role. Now create it. AWS IAM create role. Pass the role name and the trust policy file. A dangerous shortcut some teams use? Replacing string equals with string like and a wildcard star on the subject. That lets every service account in the namespace assume this role. In dev, maybe. In production, that is a blast radius explosion waiting to happen. Always use string equals in production. Step 3. Attach a permission policy that defines what the badge can unlock. The trust policy controls who can wear the badge. The permission policy controls which doors open. Here is a real-world example. Read-only access scoped to a single S3 prefix. The policy has two statements. Statement 1 allows S3 list bucket on the bucket ARN, but only when the prefix matches app1/*. A condition key that limits listing to one folder. Statement 2 allows S3 getObject on ARN AWS S3 MyDataBucket /app1/*. Notice the precision. This pod cannot list or read anything outside the app1 prefix. Create the policy with AWS IAM create policy. Then wire it to the role with AWS IAM attach role policy. Least privilege is not a suggestion here. It is the entire architecture decision behind IRSA. Every pod gets only the permissions it needs, nothing more. Step 4. Wire the Kubernetes side. Create a service account with one critical annotation. In the YAML metadata, add EKS that AmazonAWS.com/roleARN set to the full ARN of the IAM role you just created. This single annotation is the bridge between Kubernetes identity and AWS identity. It tells the EKS webhook, when any pod uses this service account, inject the credentials machinery for this IAM role. Apply it with kubectl apply. Now create a pod. Set service account name to your annotated service account. For testing, use the Amazon AWS CLI image with a sleep command so you can exec in later. Here is the magic. Look at the pod YAML carefully. There are no AWS access key environment variables. No secret volume mounts. No credentials anywhere in the spec. It is completely clean. Yet when this pod starts running, it will have full access to the S3 bucket prefix you scoped. How is that possible? The answer is the mutating webhook we explore next. It is like an invisible concierge who slips the right paperwork into your briefcase before you enter the building. When you submit that pod spec to the API server, the EKS pod identity webhook intercepts the create request as a mutating admission webhook. Think of it as airport security adding a boarding pass to your pocket without you even knowing. The webhook reads the service account annotation and mutates the pod spec in 3 ways. First, it injects the environment variable AWS__ARN set to the IAM role ARN from the annotation. Second, it injects AWS___ file set to var run secrets EKS that AmazonAWS.com service account token. Third, it adds a projected service account token volume mount. This projected volume is critical. It tells the kubelet to request a bound OIDC JWT from the Kubernetes API server with the audience explicitly set to STS at AmazonAWS.com. The token is not a static file sitting on disk. The kubelet refreshes it automatically before the 24-hour expiry window. You can verify inside the pod. Exec-in, grep the environment for AWS_in and AWS file. Both are set. Zero access keys anywhere. Now the centerpiece, the 5-step identity journey from token to working credentials. When the AWS SDK inside the pod needs to call any AWS service, it detects the 2 environment variables and activates the Web Identity Token Credential Provider. Step 1. The SDK reads the raw JWT string from the file at AWS_in file. This JWT contains 3 key claims. The issuer is your cluster's OIDC URL, the subject is System ServiceAccount namespace ServiceAccount name, and the audience is STS at AmazonAWS.com. Step 2. The SDK makes an HTTPS post to STS AssumeRoleWithWebIdentity, passing the role ARN from AWS_in and the raw JWT as the Web Identity Token parameter. Step 3. STS receives the request. It fetches the public keys from the cached JWKS for your cluster's OIDC provider. It verifies the JWT signature using RSA or ECDSA. It confirms the issuer matches, the token has not expired, the audience equals STS AmazonAWS.com, and the subject matches the trust policy condition. This is 4 independent cryptographic and policy checks happening in milliseconds. Step 4. All checks pass. STS mints temporary credentials, an access key ID starting with Asia, a secret access key, a session token, and an expiration timestamp, typically 1 hour from now. Step 5. The SDK caches these credentials in memory and automatically calls STS again to refresh them before expiry. The pod never touches static keys. Every credential is short-lived, tightly scoped, and auto-rotated. Even after the pod gets temporary credentials, the effective permission is not just the role policy. It is an intersection of multiple layers, like a building with 3 locked gates in series. Gate 1 is the role's permission policy. Gate 2 is the IAM permission boundary, a ceiling that caps what the role could ever do. Gate 3 is the organization SCP, service control policy, the master lockdown at the organization level. Your pod must pass all 3 gates. Even if the role policy says allow S3 get object, if the SCP says deny S3 star in that region, the request fails. In troubleshooting, always check all 3 layers. Here is the biggest real-world IRSA pitfall. If your pod can reach the EC2 instance metadata service at 169.254.169.254, it can silently obtain the node's instance profile credentials instead of the scoped IRSA role. Imagine an employee skipping the badge desk entirely and grabbing a master keycard from an unattended drawer. The node role is typically far more powerful than any IRSA role. Mitigation: block IMDS access from pods using a network policy or IPTABLE's rule. Be especially careful with host network true pods, which share the host network stack and can always reach IMDS. This one misconfiguration can undo all of IRSA's security guarantees. When IRSA breaks, debug with these 4 commands. First, check the service account annotation. kubectl get SA, your name, -o YAML. Confirm EKS.AmazonAWS.com/rolearn is present and correct. Second, inspect the trust policy, AWS IAM get role, query assume role policy document. Verify the audience and subject conditions match exactly. Third, confirm the permission policy is attached, AWS IAM list attach role policies. Fourth, exec into the pod, run AWS STS get caller identity. The ARN should show assumed role / your role name. If it shows the node instance profile instead, the webhook injection failed. Check that the annotation was present before the pod started. Let us walk the complete journey one last time. You registered your cluster's OIDC issuer with IAM. That is the trust foundation. You created an IAM role with a trust policy pinned to your exact service account. That is the bouncer. You attached a least privilege permission policy that defines the doors. On the Kubernetes side, you annotated the service account with the role ARN. When the pod started, the webhook injected the projected OIDC token and the role ARN as environment variables. The SDK read the token, called STS AssumeRoleWithWebIdentity. STS verified the signature, checked the trust policy conditions, and returned short-lived credentials. No static keys anywhere in the pipeline. No long-lived secrets. Automatic rotation every hour. Here is the takeaway. IRSA transforms identity from a dangerous secret into a verifiable journey. The wristband is the token. The bouncer is the trust policy. The badge desk is STS. And the permission policy is the door lock. Thank you for watching.